Good morning, everyone. I am Anupama here, going to teach you computer fundamentals from the Fulkar Mahadev University in the Department of Management. Yesterday, I have teach you some of the topics of computer fundamentals, and these are the contents. And we have completed the introduction part, functionality of computer, evolution of computer, and classification of computer, and anatomy of computer system. But before going to the other topics, today I am going to take a revision of these topics. First of all, there is an introduction of computer. I have earlier told that computer is defined as an electronic device which is basically used or takes the data as an input from the user and then process the data with some set of instructions called programs by which a output is generated, which is considered as a meaningful information. This is a computer definition. Then the functionality of computers. Functionality of computer basically depends on the three steps, that is input, process and output. But here are the 5 steps which is considered as a, but it follows the 3 basic processes, that is input process, processing output and output process. Next is there are the 5 steps which includes in the functionality of computer. First, you have to take the data as an input. Second, stores the data or the instructions in its memory and use them when it is required. Third, process the data and converts it into useful information. Fourth, generates the output, and fifth, controls all the above 4 steps. This is the 3 things defines input, process and output. Next, the evolution of computer. Earlier I have told there are the 5 generations, or the computer is evaluated in the 5 forms. First is the where the vacuum tubes used, second the transistors used, and third integrated circuits, 4 microprocessors, and fifth artificial intelligence, or we can say ULSM. So here are some of the generations are defined in a detailed form, which I have told you in the yesterday's class. These are the classification of computer, and here is a proper diagram or the block diagram of classification of computer, which is based on the purpose, based on the data handling, and based on size and functionality. Based on the purpose, the computers are categorized into 2 forms, that is general purpose and specific purpose. On the basis of data handling, the computers are classified into analog, digital, and hybrid form. And then on the basis on size and functionality, the computers are divided into mini computer, microcomputer, supercomputer, and mainframe computers. Anatomy of computer is basically follows this block diagram, or we can say the computer has its own basic organization, or we can say the computer have a structure. This is the formal structure of a computer system. Program and the data, input unit, this is overall memory unit, this is arithmetic and logical unit, or we can say control processing unit, and this is output unit. All these 4 things are considered as a proper computer system, or a computer have its own basic organization. According to this form, the computer works. First of all, it takes the data from the user through the input unit or through the input devices. A data is entered into the computer. Then central processing unit, which is considered as a brain of a computer, works or apply all the arithmetic and logical functions over the data to convert it into the meaningful information or the useful information. This control unit it directs the manner and controls all the steps to work all the logical functions. After that, there is a memory unit. Memory unit is also in the computer system, because whenever the data is required, we can fetch from the memory unit, or the data is stored in some part of the computer system, and that part is considered as a memory unit. Then this output unit is a unit, or we can say with the help of some output devices, the computer generates or shows the result or the output to the user. So overall, this is the block diagram of computer system. Input unit. Input unit is what? Input unit is considered as a data and instructions are entered into the computer with the help of some input devices. That's why it is considered as an input unit. We can say there are the various types of input devices are there or through which the data is entered like keyboard, mouse, joysticks, microphones. In our daily life, we use all these devices somehow in the form of any type of data is entered with these types of input devices. Regardless of how the input devices receive the inputs, the input interface converts them into binary codes, that is zeros and ones. As the primary of the computer is designed to accept the data only in this format. Basically, our computer works on the two forms, that is 0 and 1. Binary digits पे work करता है computer fundamental computer system हमारा. और जो input devices हैं that uses all the through which the data is entered into the form of facts and figures. Several advancements can be seen in input devices with the devices like cordless keyboard, cordless mouse, cordless mics. So these are the various types of input devices are advanced due to the technologies. Next is CPU, also known as Central Processing Unit, which is also considered as the brain of the computer. Why? Because it has the two units, that is arithmetic logical unit and control unit. So basically, it stores data, intermediate results and instructions, or we can say programs. It controls all the operations of the computer. Any type of operations is performed with the help of the CPU. The actual processing of data is carried out in the central processing unit, which is known as the brain of the computer. So the CPU itself has the following three components, that is ALU, CU and memory unit. First, we will discuss the ALU, arithmetic logical unit. In the arithmetical logical unit, all the data and the instructions are basically on that data and the instructions, some arithmetic and logic operations will be performed. Basically, ALU full form is arithmetic logical unit. So according to the full form, we can consider it as that on the data, some arithmetic operations and some logical operations were performed, or some set of instructions in the form of arithmetic and logic. The ALU performs the logical and the arithmetic operations on the data and results as a temporary stored in the RAM. After the processing, the final result are stored in the secondary memory. That's why the storage unit use that data. This unit consists of two subsections, that is arithmetic section and logic sections. Arithmetic sections have some of the functions which is related to the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. The operations which is performed by the operations which have some arithmetic terms like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. All these operations are performed in the arithmetic sections or through the arithmetic sections. Logic section is what? Logic section is performed for the logic operations like comparing, selecting, analyzing, merging of the data. The data which is merged, the data which is analyzed, the data which has to compare or to select, all these terms or all these operations, we can consider them as a logical operations, and these logical operations were done by the logical section. Then the second unit which a CPU contains is a control unit. This unit controls the operations of all parts of the computer but does not do the actual data processing. It only directs the manner or it only controls all the steps that our work is going in a sequence way or our work is going in a proper way. The data processing is done in the proper way that a control unit do. It obtains the instructions from the memory, interprets them and directs the operations to the computer. It communicates with the input-output devices so that they can transfer the data from one device to the another device or also result from storage. It does not process the data. It only controls the measures or directs checks the manner or check whether the work is going in a right way or not. The functions of control unit are, you can see, first it is responsible for controlling the transfer of data and instructions among the units. Second, it manages and coordinates all the data. Third, it obtains the instructions from the memory and interprets them and directs to the computer. Third, it communicates with the input-output devices. And last, it does not process or store data. These all are the functions performed by the control unit. Then next is memory unit or a storage unit. We can say memory or a storage is a term where all the data or the information is stored. This unit stores instructions, data, all the information, or we can say intermediate results. This unit supplies the information to the other units. Its size affects speed, power, and capability. Primary unit and secondary unit memory are the types of the memories in the computer. Some of the functions memory unit performs some of the functions. We can say it stores the data, instructions required for processing. It stores intermediate results. All the inputs and the outputs are transmitted through this memory unit. And some of the examples of this memory unit are, first of all, it has two types, that is primary and secondary memory. Primary memory is considered as a memory which is volatile in nature, or we can say it is basically inbuilt in the central processing unit. But secondary memory is the memory which have its own storage area, or we can say it is the outer part of the external memory of the central processing unit. The floppy disk, CD-ROMs, DVD drives, USB port, pen drives, all these terms comes under the secondary memory. Now the last unit of the anatomy of computer or the basic organization of computer is output unit. Output unit basically is the last step or which shows the result to the user, or we can say which has the useful information or the processed data. This output unit passes on the final results to the computation to the user through the output devices. Output unit basically use all the output devices to show the intermediate results or the meaningful information to the user, like monitor, plotter, printers. Basically, nowadays these two output devices are used commonly, monitors and printers. Through this monitors and the printers, we can see our result, or we can see the intermediate information to the user. A monitor displays the final results of the process data on the screen, while the printer gives the result as a hard copy. This unit is considered or create a link between the computer and the users. Basically, output unit is a unit by which, or we can say it considered as an interface link between a computer and a user, because this unit is the unit which contains all the data in the processed form, and through this unit the user can see their result of the input. Output device translate the computer's output into the form understandable by the user. As we know, as I have earlier told, the input unit takes the data in the form of binary terms like 0 and 1. After that, through some translators, the computer translates the computer language to the user language, and by which output unit display the output to the user in the language or in the form of the language which is understandable by the user. Now we are going to discuss some of the computer input devices. The common input devices are keyboard, mouse, joystick, light pen, trackball, scanner, microphone, magnetic ink card, optical character reader, barcode reader, and optical mark reader. All these terms or all these types are considered as our input devices, and through these input devices our input is to be entered. By these devices we can enter the data in the form of raw data or in the form of input. So first we are going to elaborate these terms. First, Keyboard. Keyboard is the mostly commonly used input devices nowadays or from the past few years. Through the keyboard, we can say, through the keyboard, the input is entered into the computer in the form of data, and the layout of the keyboard is like that traditional typewriters, although some additional keys provided to the performing additional functions. Keyboards are of two sizes, 84 keys or 10 keys. But nowadays keyboard are of 104 keys and 108 keys, available for the Windows and Internet. Keyboard, we can also say that keyboard are of two types, that is AZERTY keyboard and a QWERTY keyboard. Nowadays we are using QWERTY keyboard, but in the past few years or the past earlier months, we can say we use the AZERTY keyboard, which is designed by the French peoples, and it has the French language. France people, and it has the French language. So basically, these are the keys and the descriptions. In the keyboard is defined by these keys: first typing key, second numeric keys, third function keys, fourth control keys, and fifth special purpose. You can see the keyboard in your mobile phones. You can see the keyboard as a manual keyboard. You can see the keyboard as virtual keyboard. Nowadays, some of the people are using virtual keyboard and some of them using manual keyboards. So virtual keyboards are in the mobile phones, and manual keyboards you can use with the computer desktops. So first of all, typing keys क्या होता है? Typing keys का क्या description है? Typing keys includes the letter keys A to Z and digital keys like 0 to 9, which generally give the same layout as the typewriters. Second, numeric keys. Numeric keys, numeric keypad is a keypad where all the numeric data is stored from 0 to 9. Third is function keys. The 12 function keys are present above the keyboard, the upper top layer of the keyboard, that is F1 to F12. There are the 12 function keys, and they have their own functions. Fourth, control keys. These keys provide cursor and screen control. It includes 4 directional keys and also some page layout, page down, home and scroller, etc. Escape. And last, special purpose keys. Keyboards also have some special type of keys, which is known as the spacebar key, enter key, delete key, which is basically designed for some specific task. So overall, the keyboard is considered as these type of keys, and we can define them in the 5 forms. And also, I have told there are the 2 types of keyboards, that is AZERTY keyboard and QWERTY keyboard. AZERTY keyboard is designed by the France people, the French language, and QWERTY keyboard is basically designed by us. And you can see that in the keyboard, the first 5 letters are the Q, W, E, R, T, Y. That's why this keyboard is named as a QWERTY keyboard. And nowadays, we are using QWERTY keyboards through which we are entering the data into the computer. Second input device is mouse. Mouse is the most popular pointing device. It is an input device, but it is a pointing device. Why? Because it is very famous for cursor control device, having a palm-sized box with a round ball. You can see it here. This is a mouse. Okay? It is a palm-sized box, and it has 2 keys and a scroll button. So this is considered as a mouse, and which is known as wire वाला mouse है ये, जिसमें 2 keys होती हैं, right key and left key, and it is a scroll bar. Basically, this mouse is considered as a pointing device. Why? Because it is used to control or to move the cursor on the screen. Okay? Generally, it has 2 buttons, which is left and right button. A wheel is present between the buttons. A mouse can be used to control the position of the cursor on the screen, but it cannot use to enter text. The difference between the keyboard and the mouse is that keyboard is basically used to enter the text, but a mouse is basically used to move the cursor on the screen from right direction to the left direction, up and down. The advantage of mouse is that it is easy to use, it is not very expensive, it covers the cursor faster than the arrow keys of the keyboard. We are using some of the arrow keys to move the cursor from up and down, but this mouse is basically make our work easier to move the cursor from up to the down, right to the left directions, or overall moving on the screen. So mouse is also very most popular input device, or we can say pointing input devices. Mouse is also have some of the parts or the types. We can say there are the wireless mouse also. There are some of the mouse which use some of the chips to use. There are the notepad type mouse in the laptops. So due to some advancement in the technology, these input devices are also comes in a various forms. Third is the joystick. Joystick is also a pointing device which is used to move the cursor position on a monitor screen. It has a stick having a spherical balls. It is just like a gear system in our cars. You have seen your car's gear system. So the gear is considered as a joystick is also. It has a stick having a spherical ball at its both lower upper ends. The lower spherical ball moves in a socket. The joystick can be moved in all four directions, and the function of joystick is similar to the mouse. But the difference between a joystick and mouse is that a mouse is in a palm size box and a joystick has some spherical balls. Okay, it is mainly used in computer-aided design and playing computer games. You have play lots of computer games the computer, and there you use some of the mouse which has some spherical ball and a stick. So this is a joystick. That's why, and the mouse is considered as a palm size box. So difference between that mouse and the joystick is that. Light pen. Light pen is another input devices. Light pen is also considered as a pointing device. While similar to the pen, it is used to select the items in the screen. For example, we want to select a file or a folder in a computer or in the mobile phones, then we use these light pens. This is also used to move the cursor on the screen. It consists of a photo cell and an optical system placed in the small tube, and it is similar as like a pen. We have a normal pen. Light pen is also just like a normal pen, but it has some different qualities which is used basically to point a item or to draw pictures. When the tip of the light pen is moved over the monitor screen and press the button, the photo cell sensing element devices select the screen and then sends the responding signal to the CPU. So basically it is just like a pen which is used to select the items or to draw the pictures on the screen. Now trackball. Trackball is an input devices that is mostly used in the notebook or in the computer instead of a mouse or in the laptop. This ball, which is half inserted to the moving fingers of the ball and pointer, can be moved. Since the whole device is not moved, a trackball requires less space than mouse. A trackball comes in various shapes like a ball, a button, or a square. Nowadays, in the laptops, we used a trackball type of mouse. We can say trackball has the specialties or the functions which is similar to the normal mouse. It is in the shape of ball. It is in the shape of the square you have seen in the laptop, or it is in the shape of a button. So the trackball has the functionalities which is similar to the mouse to move the cursor from here and there on the screen or to select some of the items. Next is a scanner. Scanner is an input device which works more like a photocopy machine. You have seen the scanner in your offices, in your homes, or there are the scanner apps in your mobile phone. So scanner is that which takes the data in the form of the camera or in the form of the picture, and basically it works as a photocopy machine. It is used when some information is available on a paper and it is to be transferred to the hard disk of the computer. For example, if we want to take scan this document. So first of all, what we have to do is document is in a hard copy, and we want that hard copy into the form of scanned form, soft copy into the computer use some scanner app or the scan of the photocopy machine to take that hard copy to save that hard copy in the form of soft copy to the computer. Scanner captures the image from the source, which are then converted into the digital form that can be stored on the disk, and these images can be edited before they are printed. So what does scanner do? It captures the image, or it takes a click of the image and then converts that image into the digital form, and that digital form is stored into the computer, and you can use that form for your purposes. So scanner basically used when we want to convert a hard copy into the soft copy for our future requirements. Digitizer. Digitizer is an input device which converts analog information into the digital form. Digitizer can convert a signal from the television or camera into the series of the numbers that could be stored in the computer. They can be used by the computer to create a picture of whatever the camera had to be pointed. And digitizer is also known as tablet or graphic tablet, as it converts the graphics and pictorial data into the binary inputs. A graphic tablet as a digital is used for fine curves of drawing and image manipulation applications. Digitizer is also considered as a input devices. It converts basically some of the pictures or the data or the images into the form of digital form, analog form into the digital form, and some of the types of the digitizer is graphics and graphic tablets and the normal tablets we have. Microphones. Microphone is a common input device we are using nowadays. I have also the microphone here. Microphone is an input device which takes the input of a sound. Sound को as a data consider किया है, and that sound is entered like a data or the input to the computer system, and then stored it into the digital form. As I earlier told you, a computer works on a digital form, that is 0 and 1. So it does not understand the analog form. So after taking the data in the form of a sound or in the form of an analog signal, that is converted into the digital form because a computer can understand this language. So the microphone is used for various applications such as adding sound to a multimedia presentation or for mixing music. So microphones, there are the various types of microphones you are using. Microphones like this normal microphone, the mic you are using, or at the studios for recording, flat display microphones. There are lots of microphones and the types of microphones you are using nowadays, and due to which you can convert your analog data or in the form of the sound into the digital form for the computer. Next is magnetic ink card reader. MICR we can consider as input device which is usually used in the banks, as there are large number of checks to be processed every day. You have seen your checkbook. That checkbook contains some of the codes written at the bottom of the check. That codes will be read by the magnetic ink card reader. The bank's code number and the check number are printed on the checks with a special type of ink that contain particles of magnetic material that are machine readable, and this reading process is called magnetic ink card reader. Basically, a check contains some of the codes, and that code is written with a special type of ink which has some magnetic power, and that card reader recognizes the magnetic ink and reads those codes. And the main advantage of MICR is that it is fast and less error prone. So basically, MICR is used especially in the banks so that they can read the checkbooks or checks, and they can read the special codes on the checks. Next is optical character reader, OCR. OCR is an input device that is used to read a printed text. OCR scans the text optically character by character, converts that into the machine code, and stores the text on the system memory. Next is barcode reader. Barcode readers are the devices, or we can say it is also input devices, which is basically used to read the barcodes on the product. You can generally take the example, or you can take the example of you can go to the mall and there are some of the products. Each and every product has its own barcode. Some black thin lines and black thick lines are there in the barcode that in the product. That thick lines and thin lines are considered as a barcode, and this barcode is read by the barcode reader. Barcoded data is generally used in labeling goods, numbering the books. It may be handheld scanner or may be embedded in the stationary scanner, and barcode reader scans a barcode image, converts it into alphanumeric value, which is then fed to the computer and barcode reader is connected to. You can see in the malls that there are some of the handheld scanners who scan out those barcodes, and after that scanning barcode, you can see the result on the screen. That barcode is considered or generated into the form of the alphanumeric terms, and that thin lines have some of the data which is shown after scanning those barcode reader on your screen. Barcode readers are used in the malls, or especially in the malls. Optical mark reader, OMR. OMR term, you have seen that in the 12th we have given some of the exams on the OMR sheets. That OMR sheets is considered also an optical mark reader. It is a special type of optical scanner used to recognize the type of a mark. आपसे बोला गया होगा कि in that circle you have to mark your answers. So that ink or a mark made by a pencil or pen is read by the optical mark reader, and it is used where one out of few alternates is to be selected and marked. It is especially used for checking the answer sheets in the examinations having multiple choice questions. Wherever there are the examinations which have some multiple choice questions, there you can have some OMR sheets, and basically OMR sheets is designed for the OMR readers, and on that, if there is a mark of pen or a pencil, that OMR reader reads those marks and generates the result. Before the output devices, I want to tell you there is also one main input devices that is considered as a biometric devices. I have not mentioned in this PPT. After this class, I have mentioned in the PPT. Nowadays, biometric devices are considered as input devices. And what are the biometric devices? Biometric devices are the devices which takes the human body, or the human body which is like eyes, nose, palm, or it takes the data from the human body veins. Biometric devices have some of the types like face recognition, palm recognition, eye retina recognition, or you can say that face lock. You have seen in your mobile phones that fingerprint. So what a fingerprint do, what a face lock or the finger mark lock what do? It reads all the lines of the thumb or the finger, the skin, the lines and the veins, and according to that it stores the data into its form, digital form, and after that whenever you touch your phone or the lock, then the screen is unlocked. So these are the biometric devices nowadays are using. For example, eye retina, जिसे हम बोलते हैं, whenever you are going to the office or the colleges or some of the organizations, eye retina, eye recognition biometric devices are used. It basically check or reads the eye retina form and stores your data into the computer system that this eye retina belongs to the particular person. Whenever you show your eye to that devices, it read those lines, it read those veins, and then display the result. And your absent and present is marked. ऐसे ही face recognition है, all the lines of the face is stored in the system, and it has the data that this faces belongs to the particular person. And after that, whenever you show your face to a screen or the lock, then the screen or the phone is unlocked by reading those fine lines and the fine lines of your structure of your face, the data is entered into the system. So this is the last biometric devices is nowadays in a board is considered as an input device which takes the human body or the human veins or the human skins or the human languages जो होता है उसके टाइप के डेटा को स्टोर कराने के लिए. And then next moving towards the output devices. Output devices are what? The devices which is used for display the intermediate result or the information or the result we have. Following are some of the important output devices you use in the computer, that is monitor and printer. ये basic हमारे output devices हैं. Monitor, printer क्या है? क्या important and basic हैं. और through these output devices, these output devices are generally used nowadays also and before the past years also. First, monitor. We have to discuss the monitor. Monitor commonly used as visual display unit, which is the main output device of the computer. We can say na, it basically used for displaying the output on the screen. It forms images from tiny dots called pixels that are arranged in the rectangular form. The sharpness of the image depends upon the number of pixels. So basically, monitor have its own range. It creates the image in the form of the pixels, and that pixels are the tiny dots. And these tiny dots, all the images are drawn. It should be alphanumeric, or it should be a drawing, or it should be a graded. So basically, monitor display with the help of these pixels. There are the two kinds of viewing screen used for monitors. Monitor have two types of screens, that is first cathode ray tube and flat panel display. Cathode ray tube are the tubes which is used past before 7 to 8 years before. We are using the cathode ray tube, and it is a fast monitor screen. CRT monitors. The CRT display is made up of a small picture elements called pixels. The smaller the pixel, the better the image clarity. जितने हमारे छोटे और टाइनी डॉट्स होंगे, जितने हमारे छोटे पिक्सल होंगे, उतनी शार्पनेस हमारी इमेज की होगी, और जितना ही हमारा पिक्सल बड़ा होगा तो इमेज हमारी बर्स्ट आउट होगी. तो हम जैसे हम कैमरा पे या स्क्रीन पे बोलते हैं, तो ऑल द कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन दीज पिक्सल्स. हमारे पिक्सल जितने अच्छे हैं, जितने छोटे हैं, उतनी हमारी इमेज शार्प है. सो the smaller the pixels, the better the image clarity or resolution we have. It takes more than one illuminated pixels to form a whole character, such as the letter E in the word help. A finite number of characters can be displayed on the screen at once. The screen can be divided into a series of character boxes, and they have their fixed locations. Most screens are displaying 80 characters of data horizontally and 25 lines vertically. There are some of the disadvantages of CRTs that they are large in size. The screen is small and they are large in size. They are bulky and heavy, and they have high power consumption. They use most of the electricity. So the people are not satisfied with this cathode ray tube, and it has some tube type element which emit the lights. So after the CRT, in the advancement in the technology, flat panel display monitors comes in this environment. The flat panel display, basically this is also a flat panel display. This TV where I am showing the presentation, it is also a flat panel display. They refers to a class of video device that have reduced the volume, the weight and the power requirement in comparison to the CRT. अगर हम CRT से compare करें, तो flat panel display हमारे less consumption है, हमारा वॉल्यूम भी कम है, वेट में भी लाइट है in comparison to the CRT. You can hang them on wall, as you can see on the screen. Near them on the wrist. The wrist you can also, some of the smart watches are also designed. Current uses of flat panel display include calculators, video games, monitors, laptop computer and graphic display. सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल आपकी स्क्रीन के सामने ही है. जिस स्क्रीन पर मैं आपको पीपीटी शो कर रही हूँ, इस स्क्रीन को भी फ्लैट पैनल डिस्प्ले बोलते हैं. और ये कैलकुलेटर्स की फॉर्म में भी आने लगा है, वीडियो गेम्स की फॉर्म में भी आने लगा है, लैपटॉप कंप्यूटर्स की फॉर्म में भी आने लगा है और वॉचेस की फॉर्म में भी आने लगा है. The flat panel display is divided into two categories: emissive displays and non-emissive displays. Emissive displays are the devices that converts the electrical energy into the light. For example, plasma panel, LED, light emitting diodes. Non-emissive displays are the displays which use optical effects to convert the sunlight into the light from some other sources into the graphic patterns. For example, LCDs. You have heard these terms LED and LCDs. LED और LCD में यही अंतर है that LED क्या है, वो इलेक्ट्रिकल एनर्जी को कन्वर्ट करती है फॉर्म में, लाइट की फॉर्म में, इमिटेड लाइट की फॉर्म में. और LCD क्या है, लिक्विड क्रिस्टल्स को क्रिस्टल्स की फॉर्म में, लिक्विड क्रिस्टल डिवाइस की फॉर्म में, सनलाइट की लाइट की फॉर्म में उसको कन्वर्ट करती है यूजेबल लैंग्वेज में. तो LED LCD में फर्क क्या है, यही है. बट LED LCD comes under the term of flat panel display. They have their flat panel display and they are light in weight. They basically use less consumptions and the volume of these flat panel display are low. Now printers. Printer is a hardware output devices that is used to generate hard copy and print any document. Usually the printers are used, most commonly used output device है और इसे हम hard output device बोलते हैं. Why? Because it is used to generate the hard copies or print any document. A document can be of any type such as file, image, combination of both or the text. किसी भी टाइप का डेटा हो, चाहे इमेज का डेटा हो, इमेज की फॉर्म में हो, फाइल की फॉर्म में हो या किसी टेक्स्ट की फॉर्म में हो, किसी भी टाइप ऑफ डेटा को ये हार्ड कॉपी में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए रहता है. It accepts the input command from the user of the computer, by the user on a computer or on other devices to print the documents. This printer needs a one command to print the document into the hard. For example, if you have to submit a project report at your college, you need to create a soft copy of your report and print it with the help of the printer. Printers are one of the common computer peripheral devices that can be classified into categories that are 2D, 3D printers. The 2D printers are the print text and graphics on a paper. 3D printers are used to create the three-dimensional physical objects. So printers क्या है, basically soft copies को hard copies में convert करने के लिए रहता है और ये user से command चाहता है before taking any action. Some of the types of printers are there. There are different types of printers. Nowadays, two types of printers are commonly used, which is inkjet and laser. आजकल inkjet और laser printers चल रहे हैं. But there are various types of printers like inkjet printers, laser printers, 3D printers, LED printers, solid ink printers, and dot matrix printers. These are the printers used in the 20. First of all, inkjet printers. It is widely used by home and business computer users that prints characters by spraying the ink using magnetic plates on the paper. It contains a paper feed assembly cartridge, printhead, stabilizer bar and vent. Basically, inkjet printers क्या है? आप ऐसे printers हैं जिसमें पेपर इंसर्ट होता है तब वो बाहर निकलता है. आपको एक कमांड देना है from the computer, and that a paper is inserted into that machine, and that it comes out after injecting all the characters on the paper. Basically, these inkjet printers are used by home and the business. It stores the ink in cartridge and uses separate cartridge to print several types of color documents. These colors are combination of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black color. These type of printers have the ability to create high quality of pictures with the help of vivid colors. Further, the inkjet printers are more affordable and easier to use as compared to other printers. So inkjet printers are basically most commonly used printers, and you can see these inkjet printers in your homes, in your business, in your schools, in the colleges. These organizations use inkjet printers, and it is very easy to use. You have to give one command from the computer, and it through the cartridge or the ink, the paper is going to the device, the paper is into that machine, and after injecting all the characters and the things on the paper is comes printed into the hard copy. Some of the advantage and disadvantage of inkjet printers are here. Advantage are they can produce high quality output. These printers are reasonably fast and easy to use, and these type of printers do not take warm up time. ये लगातार काम कर सकते हैं और इजीली यूज हो जाते हैं, हाई क्वालिटी आउटपुट निकलता है. बट what are the disadvantage of using inkjet printers? It may take more time to print, or its running cost is high. It does not allow the highlighter marker. Sometimes it produces wrong warning of an empty cartridge. So ये basics disadvantage है inkjet printer को यूज करने की. उसकी जो cartridge है वो कभी-कभी हाई हो जाती, हाई कॉस्ट की पड़ जाती है, और टाइमली प्रिंट नहीं कर पाता, इट थोड़ा सा अटक जाता है, एंड इट डज नॉट अलाउ द हाइलाइटर मार्कर आल्सो. After that, laser printers. Laser printer is also one of the common personal computer printers, and it is introduced in 1971. After that, it was developed by Xerox, backed by Gary Starkweather. It uses the laser or non-impact photocopier technology to print the text and images on the paper. Whenever it gets input to print any document, a laser beam draws the document on the selenium coated drum with the help of electric charges. When the drum is charged, it is rolled into a toner drying powder. The ink follows the image which has charge on the drum. The ink is combined with the paper, including heat and the pressure, then transferred on a chunk or a piece of a paper. When the document is printed, the excess toner is collected and an electric charge is removed from the drum. Most of the laser printers are capable of printing only in monochrome, and the monochrome laser printer is around 10 times cheaper than the color laser printers. Laser printers basically इसके टर्म में ही, इसके नाम में ही काम है that it used a laser beam of light on a drum. With that laser beam draws to the document with the help of some electric charges. All the input is converted into the hard copy. Some of the advantages of laser printer: these type of printers have higher paper capacity. It is less expensive than inkjet printers. It has the ability to print documents speedily. Furthermore, it is able to increase productivity. The disadvantage of laser printer are laser printers may need warm-up time. Laser printers are bulky as they require the laser technology and imaging drum. It requires high voltage leads to small carbon emissions. So advantage क्या है in comparison to the inkjet printers that कि you can increase the productivity, आपकी productivity को बढ़ाएंगे. But disadvantage ये है कि they need lot of space to settle down. और inkjet printer क्या है? They are small in the size. They can be settled in anywhere. It requires high voltage leads to small carbon emissions and also warm-up time also there. Warm-up time की ज़्यादा जरूरत पड़ती है in comparison to the inkjet printers. 3D printers. One of the best enhancement in the history of printing technology is the 3D printers. ये एक बहुत बड़ा टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांसमेंट है कि nowadays some of the we are not totally dependent on the inkjet printers and the laser printers. We are using these 3D formulas or the 3D enhancement which is developed by Chung Hull in 1984, and it produces 3D objects and items by using quality resins. It uses materials like plastic, polymers, metal alloys or even food ingredients to create a 3D image or to print a 3D image on the document. There are many applications where 3D printers are used such as archaeology, aerospace, information systems, dentistries, biotechnologies. For example, it might be used to reconstruct an ancient artifacts of archaeology physically which have been destroyed with the time. So the areas where aero designing, engineering, dentistry, the areas where you can use the 3D terms or the 3D objects, in those areas these 3D printers are used, and this is very enhanced technology to use in those areas. The advantage of 3D printers are it allows user to print objects in 3D. It has the ability of full customization. It is easy to access and cost effective. It prints the document with a better quality. It provides users limited shapes and geometry. These are the advantages of 3D printers. Disadvantage of 3D printers are its initial and raising costs are high. 3D printing is still developing technology. It consumes high energy around 50 to 100 more than injection molding. It includes limited materials and it is slow as they are limitless for mass customization. As you all know that this is an enhancement in the technology, so this 3D printers is considered as a developing technology. It is not properly developed. Somehow there are some disadvantage of using these 3D printers. We are not getting the appropriate result in comparison to the other printers. LED printers. The LED printer is mostly like a laser printer. It uses the drum, ink and fuser system to print the black or color documents. Initially, Casio and Function developed the LED printers by focusing light throughout the whole length of the drum. These type of printers are non-impact, but instead of using a laser in the printhead, they use a light-emitting diode. These printers were invented by the manufacturer OKI in 1989. So LED printers the definition is behind its term only LED. It uses the basically laser light to print the input to the output. Advantage of the LED printer are the manufacturing of LED printer is cheaper than the laser printers. These type of printers mostly contain free warranty extensions and these printers are capable of printing on thick 3D items. So basically these are some of the advantage of LED printers. Solid ink printers, this is the last printer of this types. A laser classic solid ink printer is designed to save space and money on packaging. It uses a unique type of ink technology that is melted into the liquid before using. इसमें क्या है solid ink printer में कि before using that ink on the paper, it is used. We have to make that solid ink into the liquid ink. As inkjet printers stream the ink directly on the paper, but solid ink printers are different as they stream the ink on the drum. Firstly, transferring the ink on the drum, then the printer do its better way to get a good color combination. As a drum can be controlled appropriately than the moving paper. Xerox acquired the color printer division of Tektronix Inc. The solid ink printer was introduced in the market by Tektronix Inc. with its canonical cartridges. Some of the advantage of solid ink printers: the print quality of the solid ink printer is good. It produces dynamic colors, extraordinary print quality. The solid ink printers are easy to handle because these are made by non-toxic vegetable oils and do not melt in your hands. These type of printers are capable of printing the documents fast. Generally, it can print up to the 30 pages per minute. The ink loading in the solid printer is easy as it includes sticks. The solid ink printers are designed in that way they comprise only three main assemblies: print head, print drum and controller. Furthermore, these printers are their parts are affordable than the color toning cartridge and color laser printers. So all these are the advantages of the solid ink printer. After the advantages, we also have some of the disadvantages of solid ink printer. They require warm up and cool down time. They are sensitive to UV lights and their color may fade under the sunlight with the time. These printers consume more power in comparison to the laser computer and they basically used for a large number of printing. If it's turned off in the middle of the printing, it will take some time to warm up again. So solid ink printers in comparison to the laser printers, they consume more lights, they are very sensitive, they are sensitive from the UV rays light and basically they is used in the large number of printings. Dot matrix printers. The dot matrix printers are also known as a pin printer that was released by IBM in 1957. It strikes an ink ribbon using print hacks that place thousands of little dots to form images and text. इसके नाम में ही, इसके टर्म में ही इसकी डेफिनेशन है dot matrix printer. Basically, it uses some little dots. It uses that ink and forms some little dots on the page, and that little dots forms the images and the text on the page. Nowadays, as compared to laser and inkjet printers, it is less used as its printing speed is slow and generates lower quality of images. However, dot matrix printer are still in use some of the sectors like package delivery companies and auto parts stores. कम यूज होता है बट कुछ ही सेक्शंस में और कुछ ही सेक्टर्स में ये डॉट मैट्रिक्स प्रिंटर यूज होता है और बेसिकली इट क्रिएट्स द इमेजेस और द टेक्स्ट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द डॉट्स. The advantage of dot matrix printer: a dot matrix printer is less expensive as compared to most of the printers. It has the ability to print carbon copies of a particular printout. Its printing cost is lower than the other printers. Furthermore, its maintenance cost is also less expensive in comparison to the other printers. So these are all the advantages in comparison to the other printers. Disadvantage of dot matrix printer are the speed of the dot matrix printer is slow as compared to the other printers and also does not have the high resolution. It creates high noise when the pins hit to the ribbon of the paper, and also it may be time consuming printer as it requires a single paper to wound up and align usually. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of dot matrix printers. So in today's class we have learned what are the definition, what is the definition of computer, what are the functionality of computers, what are the generations of the computer, what are the computer's input and output technology, and what is the overall structure of the computer, or we can say the basic organization of computer. So these are all the fundamentals or the basics of the computer through which we are understanding what are the components. Components of computers, what are the components of computers like input unit, output unit, storage unit, memory unit. Some of the types of the input devices we have studied in today's topic, and also some of the output devices we have studied in today's lecture. All the things are covered up. Some of the printers, disadvantages and advantages, some of the types. These are all the types of output devices, and earlier these are the input devices. So thank you all for today's lecture. We will continue other topics in the next lecture. Thank you everyone. Thank you for today's lecture. Today we have completed all the 4 and 5 topics. Rest other topic of this unit we will do in the next class. Thank you all of you and take care.